In May of 1986, my dad was in Atlanta for work, and he was dropping off a load of produce. And he was a long-haul truck driver, and he met with some friends for dinner, and they said they took him back to his truck after dinner, but he was never seen or heard from again. The case then grew cold after a few months of investigating. A few years later, when I turned 18, I hired my own attorney to investigate. For 20 years, I was in and out of district attorney's offices and police departments, always reaching a dead end. I was at the verge of giving up. I was discouraged. I was hurt. I felt like no one cared. And then my grandmother called me, and she begged me to give it, one more shot. So I did, and it paid off. In 2008, we got a confession after waiting for over 2 decades. My dad's friends planned his murder. They robbed him for $10,000 that he had with him for my brother's car. My brother turned 16 years old the following day. They planned his murder. They lured him to North Georgia. They killed him. They dismembered him. They disposed of his body. They made sure that he would never be seen or heard from again. I was in shock and disbelief. You're never really, you want to know the truth, but you're never really prepared in a situation like that for what you're going to hear. You wonder, you go through life and you make up scenarios in your mind of what might have happened or, who might have done it. But when you actually have to sit before the person and you watch them walk into court and you see their face for the first time, you're re-traumatized, over and over. You see the person or the people that changed your entire life, and you have no idea who they even were. They were, my dad was home that day. I was sitting beside him on the sofa. He was talking to my mom about car insurance for my brother. He walked out the door. Well, I walked out the door to go to church, and I never saw him again. I was 13 years old. I hugged him goodbye, and that was it. Had no idea that, the next day I would never see him again. In the years since the conviction in my dad's murder case, I have made it a point to stay active in the community, just really trying on my own to bring awareness and to help other people that are going through the judicial system that have absolutely no idea what their rights are. I go before the parole board in the state of Georgia every year. My dad's killers were free for over 22 years, and after they were finally incarcerated, only 7 years before they're eligible for parole. So last year, I had, 7 years were up. I had to go before the parole board. I go every year, just because I feel like the burden is on me. I feel like if I don't go, then they could, be released. I have that fear of one day getting the call that they're going to leave prison. And it took me so many years to get them there that it's unthinkable for me. It's almost like I would go into a panic if I thought if they were going to be released. What people fail to realize is that victims have already been traumatized. And for them to be re-traumatized through the system is just unthinkable.